Hello, everyone. It's me, Lancer737, aka Black Knight Leader this time. There's a couple things I'm going to be looking at today. I'm going to see the trailer for Star Wars Squadrons. My favorite thing about Star Wars, video games especially, is the dogfighting. I've been playing dogfighting in Star Wars and dogfighting in general for years in video games. And I have a little bit of a familiarity with it in real life as well, and I'm very proud of that. And I'm the best pilot you'll ever find in any game that has to deal with dogfighting. I got a lot of infamy and respect in the dogfighting games I used to play, especially in Star Wars. I got it too in other games like Top Gun and Ace Combat, but I definitely got it in this. I got a reputation so huge and infamous that I was known as the Red Baron, besides the name that I've used before. So we're going to check this trailer out. See how cool it is.
I can't shake them! Giving engines full power!
Think you can escape?
This is gonna be close!
That was a close call.
Pilots, you are the Empire's strength. We do not accept defeat.
Remember why we fly. For hope. For the new republic.
Vengeance will be ours.
Seize that moment.
When the perfect shot makes history.
5 pilots.
1 squadron.
The galaxy's finest.
That looks extremely promising. I swear that a lot of the things that we saw in this is from a lot of the flight simulator games. Specifically, what I'm talking about is the squadrons. The squadron that you have flying in this for the Imperials looks like they have a lot of influence style-wise from the 181st, which is one of the coolest squadrons that they've ever made in the Star Wars lore. Actually, it's my favorite, and it's definitely the best Imperial one. There's a chance that it's not. If that is Baron Fell, it would be the first time they ever showed him off, detailing his helmet to the degree they did. Because, and from what I remember, he didn't really do anything with his helmet. What he did was he had customized armor. It's unique if you ever look at it, especially on the cover art. The other squadron, that could be Rogue Squadron. One of the pilots looked like it was Wedge Antilles. And the woman that was flying, oddly enough, that looks like Iden Versio's daughter. But I don't think that's possible because when you're playing not Rogue Squadron, Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA, it's technically the 7th or 8th one. It's she's pretty young at that point, and at that point, it's right before the beginning of Episode 8, Star Wars episode. No, yeah, right before Star Wars Episode 8. So that could be Iden, but at the same time, it doesn't look right. So I don't know. Maybe they made a mistake. a lot of the damage, not all of it, but a lot of it looked authentic for how it should be. But the problem is this is not a gameplay trailer, but it's very promising what we saw. I'm definitely going to enjoy the heck out of it. I have had lots of fond memories playing Star Wars Flight Simulator games, like I said before. And it would be really hard to screw it up. But then again, it takes a very fine hand to make one. From my understanding, the company that is making this specifically, that's under a license, that might be the right way to say it, from EA, is the group that specifically made the dogfighting part of Star Wars Battlefront 7. I'm just going to call it 7 because that's what it is. So either it's going to be, they're going to just rip the game mechanics for dogfighting from that and throw it into this, or they actually will touch up on it. Actually, add more to the mechanic. It'd be great if the mechanics are an enhanced version of what we have in, like a hybrid mix between, let's say, Rogue Squadron and, well, you know, they did do a pretty good job. So something in between what we got in Star Wars Battlefront 7, Rogue Squadron, 1 through 3, they all had it pretty good. And then X-Wing Alliance. I love having a mix between energy management, for all the different subsystems of the fighter, managing heat if that is an issue. I mean, some of them didn't really have that big of a problem with heat management, excluding the TIE Interceptor. Believe it or not, I'm so good, I even got that thing to work, and that thing is busted in Star Wars Battlefront 7. The power-ups barely even work, if at all, for it, and they have some upgrade cards with it in it, and they don't even affect it at all. And then some of the abilities are jank. Some things I don't want to see. Some of the mechanics, I give Star Wars Battlefront 7 high praise for the dogfighting. Just about every aspect of it is superb. Take in mind, that's almost every aspect. It is flawed in that they had a philosophy in that they super highly encouraged, and it's influenced by ambush dogfighting. Believe it or not, I love ambush dogfighting. It's why I was so infamous in any of the games I play. But they went too extreme. There's no radar sensors at all, and I hope it's three-dimensional like it is in the X-Wing Alliance and TIE Fighter and stuff like that. There's no radar at all, and the way the controls are in Star Wars Battlefront 7, it's not good enough. But at the same time, it's kind of funny because one of the aspects that makes the A-Wing and TIE Interceptor so powerful as an interceptor in it is they have a special hard lock mode. And that thing was useless because it lets the enemy know that they are hard locked, and then they go insane. I can't explain it because in normal circumstances, if you get jumped from behind, you're pretty much going to die. But it's like, if you get hard locked, most of the time whenever I'm using that thing, people are like, oh no, I've been hard locked. I'm going to have supernatural, uncanny abilities. I'm going to dodge, even though I normally wouldn't have been able to. I've learned pretty much just not to use it unless it's A, a hero craft, or B, a very big, slow-moving ship. Just, I usually won't bother using it on interceptors and regular fighters, just because they'll be so fast and maneuverable that it does you no good, especially when you're in a TIE Interceptor, because again, they busted it. Needs to be fixed. Needs to be superb again, like it was in Star Wars Battlefront 6, aka the first Star Wars Battlefront EA game. Now, speaking of lore, with the stuff that we saw, I was taking note of the damage. And TIE Interceptors, also TIE Avengers, also TIE Defenders, should be insanely super powerful because they have the most powerful laser cannons in the Empire, and arguably you could say the most powerful laser cannons in the entire Civil War. That being just because how powerful they are, to the point that I would question if they are not an assault laser, if not possibly a light turbo laser, even a regular turbo laser. It's marked down as a heavy laser cannon, but even for a heavy laser cannon, they do such absurd amounts of damage that there's some stories with the TIE Interceptor single-handedly destroying and vaporizing a B-wing, just shooting right through its shields. And in this same story, they could take immense barrages from the anti-starfighter weaponry aboard Star Destroyers, but a single beam from a TIE Interceptor was immensely powerful. And in the lore, after the events of Return of the Jedi, every single TIE, even the lowly ones, I wouldn't call a TIE Scout a lowly TIE. It's extremely useful, but even them, every TIE is armed with a heavy enough laser cannon, and it's likely a heavy laser cannon, if not greater. All of them are armed with a laser cannon that is so powerful that it says in the lore that it doesn't matter the shielding and the armor plating, that no Rebel starfighter can survive a single beam from them. Now, am I expecting it to be to that extreme with every fighter? No, but it would be also interesting if there's multiple different routes that you can go through to upgrade all the fighters. That'd be great, like different things you can upgrade, the power generators, the different laser cannons, maybe, heck, have other weapons other than lasers, or multiple different kind of weapons you can have. Like, imagine tricking out a TIE Interceptor with 7, let's just call it turbo lasers, and then it has a couple of disruptors. Just to really make it hurt when you're hitting someone, especially a capital ship. And then a couple of, long-range interceptor missiles, or maybe a couple of space bomb launchers, or maybe just a multi-purpose one so you can load it out with whatever the heck you want it to be at any time that you want it to be. But I would love it to be close to the lore while also being really fun. So there might have to be some compromises, like some of the things that you do see in specifically Rogue Squadron and the later Battlefronts. I don't like it when it's overly balanced, though. I mean, when I say overly balanced, I mean like, we'll take this for instance, and don't get me wrong, Star Wars TIE Fighter probably is my absolute favorite pure dogfighting Star Wars game, and probably my favorite dogfighting game, period. Just about everything about that game is perfect, except for one. The damage output for all the starfighters is exactly the same, and damage done with multiple cannons is the same. The only benefit to firing multiple cannons is that you have a higher chance of actually just hitting your enemies at longer range. I don't want stuff like that. It feels weird. It feels weird that a TIE fighter with 4 laser cannons does the same damage as a TIE fighter with 1 laser cannon. The only benefit is you're getting a higher chance to hit at longer ranges. But yeah, I will say this. I will lean towards more being truer to the lore than just game mechanic balance, because there's been plenty of games where I played it where it was trying to be accurate. Granted, it can't be 100% accurate, but like for example, Battle Station Specific. In that game, they tried to make the aircraft as close as they could without it just being, like War Thunder, I think it is, to how the planes would act. So some of the time when you're on the American side, you're using planes that are so bad that it's one of those type of situations where it's better than having nothing. They had a craft that was called the Buffalo. I can't remember the specific designated number is for it. That thing it was overweight, could not fly high. It had bad high altitude, did not have good turning, underpowered. It was very difficult to ever beat anything in a dogfight with it, but it was very rewarding if you actually did destroy any Japanese fighters with it. And then you had some ridiculous things where you're using like Pacific British fighters that maybe the Australians are using. And though it might perform better than the Buffalo in some ways, its outer hull is made out of cloth. So, yeah, amazing times. Now, what levels would I like to see in this? Well, actually, I can already tell you for sure, definitely something involving the Battle of Endor. Battle of Endor is one of the greatest, it is the greatest dogfighting space battle in fiction, not just in Star Wars. And for whatever reason, the Battle Endor is the most ignored. If you look at the games, the thing that's most reproduced into a video game usually is the Battle of Hoth and Battle of Yavin. Endor is barely touched upon, but it is chaotic and extremely fun. Now, the battle they had excuse me, the battle they had in this trailer, I would love to have that, fighting in a meteor cloud. That seems pretty chaotic. I can't talk. Seems very chaotic and very fun at the same time. Let's see. I wouldn't mind, if possible, having a dogfight at what was his name? Prince Ixor's Skyhook. Now, the odds of them pulling something from Shadows of the Empire is very low, but I would love to have a dogfight there. And other maps that I really enjoyed dogfighting at, actually, I guess you could take an example from most of the stuff that you would have seen in, like, Star Wars TIE Fighter and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, the game. Maps like that, but especially the Battle Endor, definitely. I hope we see every fighter in it. My favorite fighter definitely going to be TIE Interceptor. Obviously, it's my fighter of choice. But my dream fighters that I don't think will show up, but I definitely would hope would show up, would be a TIE Avenger, TIE Phantom. TIE Phantoms would be extremely cool. It probably would be a late end game. TIE Defenders and TIE Phantoms, and if they do have a TIE Avenger, would be very late end game fighters that you get if they are level locked or skill locked. Honestly, TIE Interceptors, if you go by the lore, should be the best dogfighters, but it's only for dogfighting. Ironically enough, Defender outdoes it as an Interceptor just because one has shielding and can go out to places faster than the other. Let's see. TIE Phantom, though, we do have ships like Darth Maul's Sith Infiltrator do turn perfectly invisible in dogfighting modes in both Heroes Only and the normal dogfighting games and Battlefront, so it's not unrealistic that we could have something like a TIE Phantom. Now, as this is a real pie in the sky one, another set of ties I would want to see, but I know for a fact won't happen. If it does, I'm gonna really love this game. I would love to see a TIE Torpedo and a TIE Boat. Those are both marine ties in water, in green, blue, and black. No, not black, just green, blue, and brown water. It's very likely I'll never see those in a video game, but you can always hope they'll have an atmospheric dogfight or even an oceanic dogfight. It'd be very strange, but you know what? It'd be really cool too. That probably belongs more in a Battlefront game where they have more unique battlegrounds. So, on oh yeah, one more I would have to say. I want a TIE Punisher. If you're not familiar with what a TIE Punisher is, the TIE Punisher is a TIE that has 4 times as many explosives than a normal TIE bomber, and other than that, it's pretty much the same. It's actually more maneuverable because it has a lot more maneuvering thrusters and stuff like that. It actually has room for shielding. It is a monstrous missile gunboat of doom. I honestly believe it can destroy a moon single-handedly with as many explosives it carries. I think it's like Man, it's been a long time. It's over 100 explosives. That probably seems like nothing since the Rebel Alliance has the T-Wing bombers. I know that's not what they're called, but that's what they were going to be called in Episode 8, the movie Episode 8. I know those carry 1,000 proton bombs, and that is significant, but still at the time, this thing carried like over 100 of various different proton bombs, proton rockets, thermal detonators, various different kind of space mines, and more. Man, the thing is a beast, and that probably would be a late N1 too. It would be very difficult to use. And I would love to have multiple different kind of game modes in this game, definitely. Not just straightforward, whoever gets the most kills wins. Objective-based stuff is excellent, just like it was in Star Wars Battlefront 7. In the original Star Wars Battlefront 2, objectives were pointless. I mean, yeah, it helped you win faster, but having your entire capital ship destroyed was not a guarantee that your enemy team would win or that you would lose. And there was plenty of times where that happened. I still won just because I kicked the crap out of all the enemy players that I was fighting against. Now, if we go with Rebels, actually just about every single Rebel fighter I could possibly want is probably already on this list. There's fewer obscure fighters in the Rebel Alliance that I care about than, as opposed to the Empire. But I guess I wouldn't mind seeing some New Republic variants, like the New Republic Y-Wing and New Republic X-Wings. They technically had two, but T-70 and T-80, or was it? I think it was called T-85. Wouldn't mind using either of those. Excuse me again. I can't think of any other obscure fighter at the moment in the Rebel Alliance. Wouldn't mind using some of the Mandalorian fighters. I take that back. They actually have some Mando fighters I wouldn't mind using. They look really cool. And if at all possible, I wouldn't mind using a Star Viper. I'm not exactly sure whose side would get that. Not sure if in the ground battles, it's cool having multiple factions to fight. In a dogfight, I'm not so sure. It might get too chaotic. I guess I wouldn't mind trying it though, but if they had a three-way or more, I wouldn't mind the Xan Consortium and Black Sun being a subgroup. They both have enough fighters that I could see them being other factions that you'd have to deal with. Now, as I said before, I'd love to see every single aspect of the fighters completely customizable. It's a very good sign what we saw in this game that the designs on the fighters, especially the Imperial ones, were customizable. They looked customized, definitely, for sure. That is a good sign because that might mean that there's leeway in getting our Imperial stuff specifically designed. You might be noticing I'm focusing on Imperials. The reason I am is two reasons. One, the Empire is my favorite. Two, it was hard getting Disney to allow the Empire to be customized, and you might be wondering what the heck I'm talking about. I was part of a much earlier Star Wars flight simulator style game. It was more of a flight arcade game, but still. I was part of a Star Wars beta for a flight simulator game. It was made by Area 52, and everything was heavily customizable in it except for the Empire. The Rebels had a ton of really cool skins they could have on their fighters. Really, really cool stuff that you didn't even see in most of the fictional lore. They went crazy with the upgrades. Real crazy. The sky was the limit, and even further. But it wasn't for the Empire. It was like they were stuck in their soulless gray or light blue colors. They might have been able to have either a red or a white stripe, maybe, on their fighter, just one, and that was it. And then you had these really cool designs with, like, this one X-Wing had tons of blue markings over it and had a Wampa design on the wings. I felt gypped as an Imperial player, especially since my persona in Star Wars, specifically in the Galactic Empire, in Imperial Navy, The squadron they use has a lot of purples mixed in with black, maybe some blues too. It's a really cool design. You'll see part of it in the thumbnail. That's what Black Knight Squadron looks like. But like, it would be very hard to convince them to be able to do that. And then slowly in the newest shows and stuff, you've seen the Empire either have red markings, or even there's one guy that has yellow markings, yellow and black. It looks pretty cool, but he kind of reminds me of Scorpion too. He kind of is a Baron Fell type character. He was extremely good. It's just they made him in one episode he suffered from plot-induced stupidity, and then he died horribly, which is unfortunate. But well, what can you do? I mean, besides Tammy being in, I wouldn't have suffered from that. I would have completely crushed the Rebel Alliance really easily. Just look at he split. There was one time I played Star Wars Battlefront 2 where I survived the entire match, and the match was over 50 minutes. And I have records to prove it. Yeah, I would love to be able to recreate the Black Knight Squadron into the Star Wars Battlefront game. It would be really awesome, especially with the armor. And a lot of people were worried that, the Empire was going to remain like that, because if you look in Star Wars Battlefront 7, aka Star Wars Battlefront 2 EA, the Empire barely has any customization at all. You might be, if you're not a stormtrooper, you might be able to customize the Imperial officer actually more than the actual troopers, but all you're doing is changing their race. You're not adding any colors or anything. Actually, this might sound like heresy, but one of the things I liked about the Episode 7, 8, and 9 era of Star Wars was the Galactic Empire. And I know people don't like me saying that, but they are the Galactic Empire. One of the things I liked about the Galactic Empire there was the colors they had on their ties was the coolest it's ever been, and you can't deny it. Having all the reds, blacks, and grays, and whites, and black, yeah, I said black twice, whoops, on their ties, it looked really awesome. I loved it. I loved it, especially after all the years of where we could barely customize anything. Oh, and also take a look at some of the original art for the TIE Fighter pilots in Episode 4, which would be A New Hope. It didn't catch on camera very well, but the TIE Fighter pilots actually did have extremely detailed armor. It's just that customized detailed armor. It's just the colors didn't catch well. It was mostly customized with silvers. One of the TIE Fighter pilots actually has a silver digital skull imposed on his helmet. It looks really cool. I'm experimenting with different designs for my TIE Interceptor pilot armor. Mine right now has a top of a dragon's head on it, and I hope it comes out well. And well, either way, that's my hopes for Star Wars Star Wars Squadrons. Hope every aspect's customizable. I hope I can make a Royal Guard TIE Interceptor even better. And I hope it sticks to the lore. I hope we get a lot of good stuff with that. I have a good feeling about it. I don't know why, especially since EA has been failing constantly, but I have a good feeling about this. Now, on to the second part. So if you guys are into MLP stuff and crossovers, this is going to be really awesome, because they've made a bunch of really cool stuff that's coming out soon. Although it's in the style of G3, or maybe it's G2. No, I think it's actually I can't tell between G1, 2, and 3, but it still is pretty cool that it's crossing over. So, to get to the meat of it, Ghostbusters Plasma Main now listed on Amazon UK. And that's Plasma Main right there. Looks pretty cool. I would have actually had the main transparent, or make it glow some way. Following the Dungeons & Dragons pony set from yesterday, Plasma's main stock image has apparently been uploaded to Amazon UK from Ghostbusters franchise. We are still waiting for Transformers and Power Rangers set to arrive, but the price does include a heads up. Collect both, so expect them soon. Got the description in the box below. Okay. My Little Pony Ghostbusters crossover fandoms collide when My Little Pony meets Ghostbusters for a crossover tour. Cutie Marks and Ectoplasm crossover collection. Plasma Mane is an exciting character mashup. 4 or 5 inch figures has a retro My Little Pony form factor with Ghostbusters inspired design. Classic Ghostbusters movie inspired pony design, a Cutie Mark, and inspired by the iconic Ghostbusters story collect. Favorite Ghostbusters look in a fresh and different form factor. Okay. Collect and display figure is a great way for fans of My Little Pony or Ghostbusters brand to complete their collection. Display your figure in the special package at ages 4 and up. Build your collection. Start a collection with Transformers My Little Pony Prime, Power Rangers Morph and Pink Pony, My Little Pony figures, each sold separately. Okay, there's Plasma Mane and... okay, well that's just Plasma Mane. Let's take a look at the other ones. Okay, Dungeons and Dragons. Not bad. Kind of reminds me of... well, this one specifically reminds me of the character from... that Rainbow Dash played, which was a thief / assassin. The rest of them are not bad. That's pretty cool, that dice right there. Actually, I guess the only one that I really like is this one right there, the assassin looking one. The World of Crossover. Oh, sorry. The World of Crossing Over Hasbro brand has apparently begun with this new set of molded, old-school style ponies revealed by a toy company called Demand Toys. Unfortunately, this doesn't include any actual information on when they will be available or how the release will work. It does show off Hasbro's new crossover collection brand logo though, which you can see on the corner of the box below. Okay, let's take a look. It's probably it right there. It's kind of plain. The artwork actually looks cooler, I think. Yeah, the artwork looks cooler. But you know what? To each their own. I definitely would want the Ghostbusters one, just because I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. I love Dungeons and Dragons, but not enough to get that. Okay, let's check out the next one. Transformers and Power Rangers. So if it's a Combaticon, then I will get it. Ooh, there we go. New listing have been removed from Amazon's UK branch seem to have hinted at an upcoming toy line built around the idea of ponies crossing over with other properties, similar to what we are seeing with Transformers in the near future. The listing had a pretty specific description, hinting at a future character named Plasma Mane, which we just saw. They also mentioned My Little Prime for Transformers and Power Rangers Morph and Pink Pony, meaning we will most likely be seeing a bunch of crossovers out there. So, where is it? Okay, hold on a second. I'm just going to look up the pictures. Here's a good picture of him. He looks pretty cool. I would have to say actually the toy looks better than the art this time. Okay, well, okay, yeah. That looks pretty cool. Looks cooler than you would think. It'd be cool if it had more robotic parts on it, though, than just the parts being colored on, and if it could actually transform. Okay. As we can see here, this doesn't look bad. The art, in my opinion, the art is better than the actual toy. I'm not the biggest Rangers fan, but if they had made it the Green Dragon Ranger, the classic first one, or if they had made it the Purple Knight Ranger, and then made that into a pony, I definitely would be getting it. I highly recommend it to anyone that's both an MLP fan and Power Rangers fan, because it does look pretty good, but I'm definitely getting the Ghostbusters one. That is awesome. Anyway, that's it for today. Oh, no it's not. Let me give you a heads up. If anyone likes MLP fan fiction, the forums were down because it's all being migrated to a different server. So if anyone's freaking out because of that, they think that the whole place is gone, don't worry, it's not gone. And also, want everyone to have a good day. I have some not sponsors, people I'd love you to check out down below in the comments. They're really cool, including Dame Falcon. She does some really cool reviews. She just did a review of Resident Evil 8. Don't forget to check out Ethan Van Striver. Don't forget to check out Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. And you know what? God will be with you. And I stand with Tucker Collison. And have a good day.